Hello virtual hunters and welcome back. My name is Doc and in today's video we're going to be talking about 5 top secret tent locations that you probably didn't know about in the Hunter Call of the Wild. All of these tent locations are great in their own way. Some of them require an ATV to get to, some of them don't. And number 5 is probably going to be the best one, so make sure to stick around until the end so you find out what that one is. Okay, let's start off by talking about what you're going to need. It's really simple. You're going to need an ATV for a lot of these, and for most of them, all of them that require an ATV, I would say that you want at least 2 tents. And the reason for that is you want a backup tent in case you don't make it all the way across the first time. So I'm going to call this our safety tent, and I'm going to place down our safety tent right here because for this first one, we're here on New England Mountains and we're over here on the west side of the map. If you go down here near Greeley Notch, there is this little island. If you get on there, you can glass all the way around the island, aside from maybe that back corner, and not have to deal with all of the tall grass like you would if you were snaking your way around the lake. So we are going to start up here on this hill, and we are going to ramp ourselves down. Now, what I would do is I would go down near the shoreline and try and find a close point with a lane that you can make the ATV through. It's going to be tight and it's going to be fast and you're probably going to mess it up a few times. But this is how you get over there. So now I still have another tent in my inventory for when we do make it over there. And if we fail and the ATV blows up and we're still on this side, we can just come back up here to the tent, get a new one, and try again. So we're going to go ahead and hop on our ATV. And I will throw up a little marker on the screen right now of where I'm aiming. This should work, but I might hit a rock or something, so you never know what's going to happen, so you definitely want a backup tent here, but for the most part, you're just going to want to thread the needle and go as fast as you can through the opening. You see, now I'm getting sideways. I don't like that. Here we go. Hitting at about 43, 45. And we have made it across. First try, not too bad. Not too bad. Now you can just go ahead and plop down your tent anywhere you want. Sure that it's not hidden. There we go. And now you can glass all the way around this lake. So that is secret tent location number 1. It's also a really good waterfowl spot if you're into that. It really gets you out here in the middle and you can kind of play around with what direction depending on what way the wind is blowing, because waterfowl are always going to land into the wind, or they're going to try to at least. So this is just a really solid spot for both waterfowl and deer and moose and that kind of thing. Something else I think I should mention for all of these is that you might want a claiming tent of sorts on the outside of the island, just because trying to get on them is hard and trying to get off of them is even tougher. And it would defeat the purpose if you had to go running back on a 4-wheeler to pick up everything that you shot. So definitely might want to consider putting up 2 tents at each of these locations if you have the room for them. Okay, so for our next one, we are here on Silver Ridge Peaks, and we are going to be just south of Bending Forest, and we're going to be getting here on this little island. It is full of these tall reeds that go all the way around the lake, so this is a super nice one to have if you're just trying to glass quick, or especially if you're shooting down black bear for your grind. That's why I've been using this. So this is also another one that you're going to use an ATV for, so I cannot recommend enough using a safety tent just so you don't have to drive all the way back from the nearest outpost. Now, much like the last one, we are going to be starting on a hill and aiming for a gap in the trees and hoping for the best. I will throw up on this screen where I'm going to be aiming for, and then we are just going to do a full send into the water, down the hill, trying to hit the closest point. I'm actually going to turn here just a little bit, and hopefully we don't hit a rock like that, but I think we made it far enough. And we made it onto the island. Again, first try. Man, when I first found this location took me several attempts to get to. But now that you're on it, you just have to find a place to put down your tent. And I will show you, this is a good spot. And then on the other side of this island, there's another little spot that you can hike your tent up and really get a good glassing view of this entire lake. Just note that the far back corner will still be a little out of render distance depending on your system and your graphic settings. But as you can see, I'm seeing stuff over 350 meters away. So if I wanted to, I could easily shoot those buffalo from here. Okay, our third one is probably going to be the least useful, but I'm going to give you a twofer on this one. So first of all, you can make it to this little island right here without an ATV. You just jog across, and it's very shallow. You think you're going to drown, and an ATV does make it faster, but you don't need one to make it up there. There's bison and stuff that drink up there. There's a few animals that do. The one that we're going to be looking at, though, is going to be down here, north of the shooting range. You can get onto this island right here, giving you great access to this entire shoreline. Now, animals aren't going to spawn out here, but you should be able to shoot back inland. So to do that, you're going to come out here to this beach, and from what I can tell, you do need an ATV for this, but your head never goes below water, so really you don't need a safety tent. Oh, I say that, and then I get teleported across. The first 2 or 3 times that I tried this, that didn't happen. But either way, you make it over here safe and sound, and you can place a tent down on this island, and you can shoot all the way around the entire coastline. Me personally, I put my tent right about there, just so I don't spook anything along this shoreline, and I can shoot all along down this eastern edge of this coastline. Like I said, probably the least useful out of any of them on this list, but I do occasionally come to this location and shoot just to see what's out here. I've shot fox and fallow deer on this edge. Our fourth one is probably the least secretive on this entire list, and that is going to be here on Te Awaroa, and it is going to be this big island right here. This is super useful because myself personally, I have fallow drink zones all along here. And for a long time, I actually had a tent and tripod set up here, shooting across the ocean, basically, up against the bank here to shoot down these fallow deer. Now I have a little setup over here because it's a little bit closer, a little bit easier to go and claim. But this is still a very good island. You do not need an ATV for this. I'm using an ATV just for the sake of time. But you can just travel right across that little river there, and now you are on the big island. Now, personally, I find this this western tip, to be the most useful out of the entire island, but you don't have to. But you can place tents like right here and put a tripod stand up here. It is a very useful island, especially when you're shooting down this coastline. You can see the entire thing, and if you are looking for fallow zones for your fallow grind, you have to check this coastline. I'm a huge fan of coming around here and checking it from this angle, because you can see all along here. Now, before we get into our fifth and final secret tent location, I do have one honorable mention, and that is going to be here on Yukon Valley. It doesn't look like from the map that you can get to this, but this island is amazing, especially right here in this strait. This is all sand. You can glass both sides of this river, and as you can see, we have a lot of drink zones on either side of this. I usually have a tent there. I had to move it for a grind, but we usually have a tent there so we can shoot both sides of the river very easily. If you're looking for a great spot for grizzly bear and caribou, that is your ticket right there. So make sure to check that out next time you're in the game. But for our fifth and final secret tent location, we are going to have to go over to Layton Lakes. Okay, our fifth and final secret tent location is here on Layton Lakes. If you go down here to Balmont Lake and go to this little island, there's a land bridge here. It doesn't disconnect at all. You can just get here and you will find this monument and a shed antler. That's how you know that you found the right place. This secret tent location was actually first introduced, as far as I know, by a YouTuber by the name of Ron Mctube. If you guys haven't heard of him, I will leave a link to his channel in the description. Very informative guy, super knowledgeable on Call of the Wild. Thank you, Ron, so much for showing us all of this. I am just adding it to our final list because this is probably the most useful of any of the tent locations. It is going to allow you to see all around Balmont Lake without having to ride the outskirts of it. I'm going to use an ATV. You can walk. If you're using an ATV, though, I would recommend a safety tent in case you get off course here. So what you're going to want to do is come over here to the corner. And over on this corner, you'll see this little dry section. It's kind of like a little shore of this island. And there is a little bush. I'm going to go ahead and stop moving and throw up on screen right now where I'm aiming. If you aim for that bush with an ATV and just keep going, keep it on course for that, you should not drown. So we are just going to go and do a full send. Like I said, you can walk this. It's just a lot slower. And this is the faster way to do it. You just keep aiming for that little bush or tree or whatever that thing is, and you will make it safely on the other side. And of course, once you're here, you just get off and you can get your tent out and plop it down in the middle. You now have a 360 view of Balmont Lake, and everything should, in theory, render in it giving you a perfect opportunity to hunt it all at once, and you can really see everything and take inventory before you start shooting and scare things off. You don't want to be shooting level 2s when there's a diamond around the corner. So that is all I have for today's video, guys. I know it's a little bit shorter one, but I just wanted to throw these out there because I really find them useful, and I know that some of you guys are going to find this interesting. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. It helps the channel out a ton. If you enjoy hunting games, you have found the right place, because that is all we do here on this channel, so make sure to subscribe. And if you guys have Discord, last week we just created our own Discord server, so come over and say hi to us. I'll leave a link down in the description so you guys can join easily. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.